Welcome everyone back to another episode of the Video Game Vibes podcast in 2024. It's me, your boy PatriotJax, as always, with my good pal and co-host Grog Games. How are we doing, sir? I added a new tab. For some reason, my computer's messing up. How are you, sir?
I am doing excellent, Jax. I'm good. We are blessed here in the 21st of January 2024 when I'm talking right now. I'm good. I'm great. I'm fantastic. I feel like I've been doing a lot of stuff and also not doing a lot of stuff.
I feel like that too.
Now I'm here.
Yeah.
Also,
I
feel like it's weird because we're almost done with January already. Isn't that
I'm kind of
crazy?
glad. It is like unanimously like the worst month of the year. Like, let's be real.
You think so?
Oh yeah, everyone. You know, your post-Christmas like blues. It's in the UK, it's really cold. And everyone's ill.
Yeah.
It's just January. You know, you have to wait that extra bit longer for your pay. It's just not a good time, January. You know, we have to get by, and we play our games and do our things to get by. I did want to mention just very quickly that we were planning on doing our episode on Pony Island. We were going to record that tonight, but we have postponed that for now. You can watch a lovely theory video about Pony Island. It's just dropped on my channel. I forgot I scheduled it for today.
I saw
it. There we go. But yeah, so today we're going to be vibing out and talking about just a bunch of topical things that have piqued our interest.
Yeah. A lot of stuff has happened already.
Yeah. Biggest thing I would say being Palworld, sort of really blowing up. I think, did you expect it to blow up quite to the level that it has?
I obviously knew about the game before it came out. As of this recording, it just came out this last Friday. So like, there was a couple people that I think maybe had a beta version or something like the week before this last Friday. But apart from that, the whole world just started playing it pretty much. I did not expect it to be this big. I'm going to be honest. Like, it looks sort of cool. It was one of those games that was on my radar. I don't even think it was on my top 5 list for the episode we just did for most anticipated games this year. I didn't even think about it, to be completely honest.
It might have been an honourable mention. I feel like it came up, but you might be right. Yeah, which is, I think it's definitely caught the attention of
everybody.
Everyone, just gamers in general. Like, I was just going to say like Pokemon fans, but then there's like two sides to that coin for sure. In terms of that, do you want to get into it?
I would. Yeah, you know what? Let's get into it. I would love
Let's get
to.
Straight into it.
So the game just came out. Your boy did buy it Saturday. Yeah, I pretty much saw it. I saw the TikToks that everyone was posting the week before and that Friday, and I just got all hyped for it, to be completely honest. Also, it's 10% off right now, which, like, I wasn't expecting it to be on sale for a new game. That's also just a really cool thing that they did, I think. And I just couldn't help myself, and I bought it. So I've only played a little bit so far, but I do have thoughts, and I'm very excited about the game. So, first off, I have some stats for us to talk about, Jax. I don't know if you've seen all of these or heard all of them. As of today, Palworld has sold over 4 million copies in about 3 days since they started.
Oh, right. I thought it had like 1 billion in sales or something.
No, 4 million copies have been sold.
Okay.
Which, I want to back up for a second. This is an indie game. That's insane for an indie game. An indie game hasn't popped off this hard in a long time at the start. The last one, of course, Lethal Company, I think was the last popular game for sure.
True.
As of right now, and these are stats from yesterday and today, Palworld has the highest concurrent player count of any paid game in the history of Steam. On Saturday the 20th, the players... they were having connection issues online, because this is a co-op game as well. I don't know if you knew that, Jax, which is pretty freaking sick. As of yesterday, over 700,000 players played online concurrent, as of today / late last night on the 21st, it was 1 million concurrent at its peak. 1 million people playing online for
That
this
must have
indie
been
game.
Yeah.
And
I'm just, yeah.
mind blown. Like, isn't that amazing?
It is. For an indie game, it's quite something. I think the thing that kind of gets me is, obviously because it's an indie game, it doesn't have the same marketing, budget and stuff that other, AAA games do.
For sure.
Aside from you, I had not heard about this game at all. So I don't quite understand how it managed to blow up in the way that it did. Because obviously you'll see the clips and stuff and it'll be Pokemon with guns. That's sort of like a unofficial tagline for what it is.
Yeah.
But even so, who blew it up? Where did it come from? Did they just do did the team themselves initiate this, or did it just happen? Did they send it to some bigger streamers to try out? I don't know.
So I obviously know a couple bigger streamers have tried it. I know Moist Critical has tried it out for sure. I think Asmongold's tried it out. I think. But yeah, there are some bigger people, but they didn't get it beforehand. I think they literally just played it out when everyone else did. So I don't have an answer for sure in regards to why it blew up. I have some speculation in regards to that. It basically involving the gameplay of it and why it has a good mix of new mechanics built in with nostalgia, I think is probably the main reason why. Because basically this game, if you haven't seen it so far, it's the best way to describe it. I normally try it. I know it's probably not the best thing, but when I'm trying to describe a new game to someone, you know how you normally go it's a fusion of this game and this game.
Yeah.
Well, in my opinion, it's basically a mix between Pokemon Legends Arceus, Breath of the Wild, and Ark Survival Evolved. That one dinosaur survival game. Yeah, that's what I've heard from people. Yeah. I've also not played that last one. I own it and I've never played it, which is,
I also own it and have never played it.
Yeah, we should probably try that out sometime. It's pretty popular. But in that game, it's essentially survival. You tame dinosaurs. It's a mix of all that, which is crazy to think of how it seems like it maybe could be all over the place. But no, it's pulled together extremely well. So I'm very new into the intro of the game. So far it seems like they sort of throw you out there. It's more sandbox than storyline from at least what I can see from the start.
That makes sense if it's in early access, I think.
Oh yeah, I don't think we mentioned that yet either, guys. It is in early access, so this game is currently being updated, and I do want to praise the devs really quick for the connection issues that they had online in regards to the mass volume of people playing co-op. They've been doing extremely well with communicating what's going on, what's happening, that they're working with the people to fix the issue in a timely manner. I think it's really, it's really admirable of them to go ahead and communicate transparently like that to everyone in such an effective manner. They've been really good at it so far. That's
a really good point, because I think what people forget with a lot of indie games that end up blowing up, when you think of games like Fall Guys, and I know that excuse me, I know there's another one that I'm forgetting, where they haven't planned for the game to blow up in the way it's done, and the servers can't handle it, and then they have loads of issues, and then they need time to solve it and stuff like that. And it's the measure of the devs is how do they deal with it, how do they cope with it, and how do they communicate that to the community. And so, judging by what you're saying, I'm guessing they're doing a good job of that. I would very much, as I haven't played it yet, I do plan on getting it. I want to talk about the discourse, because it is quite interesting on online to hear what both Pokemon diehards and everyone else think of it.
Yeah, let's talk about that, and then I can go into some mechanics and stuff and some other thoughts on the game itself afterwards. But yeah, for the people that don't know, let's hear about this discourse, Jax, because I know a little bit about it, but you tell me what you found. Yeah.
The obvious being, I don't want to say that they're Pokemon diehards, because I'm of the opinion that the game has just come out. I think you need to give it time.
Yeah.
But obviously, there are a lot of comparisons between the actual Pokemon designs, the Palworld creature designs, and that
Palmon, sir. Palmon.
You know, Palmon. Is that what they are? Palmons.
Yeah, Palmon.
Okay. There are. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm just scrolling through some of the ones on Twitter where people who clearly have way too much time on their hands are trying to find all of the combinations of Pokemon that have created these Palmons.
Yep.
And do not get me wrong, to some extent, you can see the point that they're trying to make, that basically the designs are lazy on the devs' part, and that they should have worked harder on making them unique. Is the general gist of it. And in my personal opinion, having just looked at these ones in particular, there are a good number of similarities. Do not get me wrong. I do think it's hard, not impossible at all, but I do think it's quite hard given the amount of Pokemon that actually exist.
That's a very good point.
If you're going to make a game that's like Pokemon, and believe it or not, guys, you are allowed to make a game like Pokemon that's not Pokemon. It's not illegal. They're trying something different, but there are definitely a few similarities. But for me personally, given the benefit of the doubt, it is still in early access. They can sure as hell update designs if they wanted to. If that's some
if they get in
feedback.
Trouble.
Well, I personally don't think they could really get in trouble. You know what Nintendo are like, though. They would come for them if they really thought they'd have have something on it. But
I think
yeah,
they're fine. I think the designs are fine in regards to a legal sense. I think they knew exactly what they were freaking doing. I 100% think stronger than you that they technically borrowed a lot of inspiration from Pokemon, and I think they did that in a smart way. Where, for example, there's a Palmon, I don't know its name yet, I haven't met it in game, but it's like an Anubis, which is obviously very similar to Lucario.
Yeah, this is the one I'm looking at. This one.
You're looking at that one right now. Yeah. There's a lot of Palmon that looks similar to Pokemon, and like that one, for example, obviously Lucario is a very popular Pokemon. So I think they did that because they knew that it would be cool. To reference a cool, popular Pokemon, which honestly it is. It is fun.
Here's a question. Yeah. This could be really spicy.
Okay.
Do you think that they purposely made similar designs?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Like now, and they've already got like the more unique, better designs like later, but they wanted to. They could potentially. This could be a way they've created discussions about their game online, because they knew. They must have known whatever happens that there would be die-hard Pokemon fans that would be crapping on the game anyway. So in that regard, it is actually a really good idea to do it in that way. I'm not saying they have done, but
I
not
think
a bad idea.
Marketing-wise, it's genius. I think that's what you want to do is stir controversy. It just makes your game better. Bad or negative reviews are still good publicity. So I think it was brilliant of them to do that. I think they did it on purpose. Not to say that they're trying to do a cash grab or anything like that. I think the people behind it obviously have a very big passion for the monster taming genre in general. But I also think they definitely took some liberties in regards to taking advantage of some Pokemon designs that already existed, and I'm not mad about it. I'm super pumped about it. But I think I don't know for certain, but I do know there's over 100 Palmon right now in the game. I think it's like 110 or something like that.
Okay, I was curious to know the amount.
Yeah, I don't know specifics, but I'm pretty sure it's that. And there's also like a lot of details in regards to it, like there's shiny Palmon, for example. They basically did shiny Pokemon.
They didn't need to do that.
But
they really didn't.
Someone was going to say something.
Yeah.
The Pokemon community would want shiny Pokemon. And that's not like a blatant rip-off at all. Other monster taming games have had that for a while anyway.
No, I know, but I just mean, not to go against my previous opinion, but surely they could do something different than just
and they did
them being shinies.
There's also breeding in the game, and incubation hatching of eggs. So, like, for example, I found a bunch of eggs around the map that are pretty rare. I've only found like 4 eggs so far, and you can get an incubator to hatch them. And you can also crossbreed your monsters, or not crossbreed in the way that they change into a different monster, but you can breed them for different traits. And then also, I think the shiny ones are bigger, so they're also like alphas in Pokemon Arceus a little bit, I believe.
Oh my God.
But you can breed them in a way to get different types, because there is like types of monsters. I can't remember all the types right now or anything
Grass,
like that.
water,
But yeah, point being, you can get like an electric dragon, whereas the normal Palmon version of that is just dragon or something. So there is some variation that Pokemon hasn't done. I mean, I guess in the latest game for Scarlet and Violet. Oh my gosh, it's Scarlet and Violet. They did change types a little bit with the crystallization, whatever the heck it's called. I forget. Where they basically you could change types temporarily, terrestrialize, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't beat it, and I don't care.
Can I just say sorry? You're
please.
editing this one. You're gonna have to edit out a lot of my coughs. I should have said this at the beginning, guys. I apologise for my my throat. It's in a lot of pain right now. But back to Palworld. There's one point I do just want to make.
Yeah,
and it's,
please.
I think you can tell me if I'm wrong. You're the diehard Pokemon guy.
That's correct. Oh, I don't know about
Surely
diehard anymore, but yeah,
well,
I suppose you can still say that.
Well, this is part of it. Like for the longest time, you guys have wanted like something different, something potentially you feel maybe a bit more quality than what you get from the next Pokemon game for the last few years.
Yeah.
And you know, this has come out. It's something different. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure no one from Nintendo was planning on doing anything with guns. But, you know, it's open world. You know, don't get me wrong. This game has definitely taken a lot of inspiration from Pokemon in general. But I think people who are crapping on the game, I think it's very harsh to do that. Especially given it's in early access. But, like, for people who are fans of Pokemon games, like, why not give this game a try instead of just shutting it out as it's being some carbon copy and unoriginal, etc., etc.? Because Nintendo aren't giving you... Well, there's always so many complaints and stuff about the Pokemon games that come out. Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet in particular. You know, a lot of complaints about like the games not maybe progressing to the level that they should be by now. You know...
Or taking time to develop something that would be...
A Pokemon MMO you think Nintendo would have done by now.
That would be honestly crazy, and it would be like one of their staples for Nintendo in general for revenue, is if you make a Pokemon game and somehow add like, I don't know, like, what's it called, like buy-in stuff or whatever, so you can just spend money on the game. Like buy to win an MMO.
Wouldn't you think that like what they did... how they managed to change the Zelda series forever with Breath of the Wild, that they would do that with Pokemon, albeit a Pokemon, and the Poke MMO would be like what do you call it, games as a service.
Yeah.
Even though those are the ones that are the real money makers anyway, because we know Nintendo loves money. I don't know. It just like don't dismiss like an indie game that's trying something different, that's taking inspiration from Pokemon, but also trying new things and just, you know, trying to, I don't know, like make its way. And like I think as Pokemon fans, I think it's worth just giving a go. If you're too put off by like the designs and that, okay, fine, fair enough. Maybe come back when the final version comes out. Maybe the designs will be updated or whatever. But I don't know. I think it's far too harsh to completely dismiss it as a cheap carbon copy with guns sort of thing.
I completely agree. Yeah, I think people are nitpicking a little too hard. I think for one, if it's a little different if you take every little aspect and copy it from a game in the way that it seems like it's almost cookie cutter-ish and you're just trying to get a quick buck, and that's not what this team is doing. It's not what they're doing at all. The game's way different compared to other Pokemon games, And it would be one thing if the game weren't fun, but it's way fun, and you should just, stop hating on people for wanting to have a good video game experience, pretty much. I think it's only a good thing. This is just going to challenge the Pokemon Company to step up their game and brainstorm something better in the future, or maybe listen to us for once. Which, I mean, we've talked about it in other podcast episodes. I think they're on the right track, the Pokemon Company. I think they've been doing better than they have in the past. Are they perfect or better, to the level that we want them to be? Definitely not. But, I mean, they're in a step in the right direction. Maybe they need one more push from a competing Pokemon franchise, Pokemon Palmon franchise, to get them in that direction a little bit further. I don't know. That's my opinion. I think you're absolutely correct, Jax.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how the game gets on, and I'm actually looking forward to playing it since you said it's you can play it on Steam Deck, so I'm all about that now.
Well, I don't actually know that. I just assumed you could. I don't know how your Steam Deck
works.
No, thanks. I didn't.
No, I'm out. No, forget it. Copy.
What? Hold on. No. Well, how about this? I'm going to talk about a couple more mechanics in the game. And while I'm looking up those mechanics, why don't you confirm if you can play it on Steam Deck or not? Good. Okay. Google it quick for us while I talk about a couple more things about the game before we change subjects. So I just want people to understand how cool this game is so far. So it's not just Pokemon. You essentially are making your own base too in a crafting system. You start off and first off you make your character, which first off, I was not expecting character creation too much. I mean, it's nothing too special. I hope that they actually add a couple customization features to the character creation.
I think they look unique enough. And
they definitely do.
I like it. Very anime as well.
It's very anime,
over the top and heavy, on the hair and stuff. I think it's decent.
It's really funny because I was trying to make my character, and I normally try and make my characters look similar to me, and I
never do that.
You never do that? So, they don't have, face sliders and stuff to, customize the faces. They have, a decent number of faces to select, but you can't, change, nose type or whatever. You can change, eye color and that regular stuff. But I, accidentally made my guy, way older. So he's, 45. And he just looks like this old man. But, he looks like an older version of me, though. And I'm like, dang, I guess this is me at 45 isekai'd into a Pokemon world. But moving on. So you make your character. Pretty cool. There's a really brief cutscene in the beginning about you waking up on a beach and Palmon looking over you, and then you just wake up and then you're in the game. And I was surprised about the intro for it because I was expecting them to handhold you. They didn't tell me anything. I don't know if I was being dumb at first or something, but it was way more survival based than I thought it was gonna start with. You have to, it sort of starts you like Minecraft. You have to make your tools right away and stuff. They don't give you a Pal ball or anything. You can't capture Palmon right away or anything at all. You have to collect everything, get enough resources, and then craft all your stuff. Yeah, I loved that part of it. I was like, I have to feel like I'm deserving of the stuff that I'm doing right now, which is wild. And after you get all your tools, you can establish, it's not too far in the game. It probably took me 10 minutes to figure out what I was doing. And you can set down a base, and you can set it down wherever you want in the world. And you sort of have your central hub, and then you build stuff off of that. And you can level up your base based on certain buildings and stuff. First off, it starts crafting tables. You can build beds, and you can also build your houses, a house. You can actually build walls and stuff. I saw one person on TikTok that built a tower all the way up in the sky, so they just put a spiral staircase going all the way up. And you essentially just increase your base level, and every time you do, you can add one spot to add a Palmon to your base. And so you can assign Palmon that you capture either in your party like Pokemon to travel with you and throw out to battle stuff or do whatever, or you can have them in a PC or you can have them assigned to your base. And if you have them assigned to your base, they'll do certain tasks. And there's only certain things that certain Palmons can do. So, for example, like, one of them is good at wood cutting and building. Another one is good at farming, and that's the only thing they can do. Another one is, like, firepower, so he can cook, but he can't do any farming or anything like that. So, like, there's little complications with, like, what you're supposed to be doing. And there's also, what I thought was really cool, I was not expecting. It was, you can make, like, a wood cutting area in like a mine, sort of like Warcraft 3. So you just set it down and it's 9,000 wood, and you have the Palmon working on that. So as soon as I got that, I was like, wait, is this game's part base building for real, for real? Like, I thought it was just like minimal, and I'm like, oh, hold on. I can actually farm resources and not do anything. That's sort of neat. That's almost strategy game-ish, which was awesome. And so you're building all this up, and at the same time, you're exploring the world for more resources. You're adding new Palmons to your party. You are exploring other things, too, like these poacher syndicate thing. I don't know a ton about them yet, but they're in the overworld, like, I guess, trying to attack Palmon and use them for resources or whatever. So it's up to you to stop them if you want to, or ignore them, but they're aggressive on the map. And then there's also dungeons scattered everywhere. So I actually put my base right next to a dungeon, thinking that would be good so I can farm it later. I have yet to go into it, but it's pretty cool that there's like just dungeons scattered around. There's also little treasure chests scattered around too, and like I said, eggs that you can find. So there's little collectible things built in with this crafting survival system and a dungeon system. And also, yeah, it's pretty entertaining. Like, all of these mechanics combined keep you so involved in the game that, from what I've heard from everyone else and from what I've experienced through my minimal hours so far, it's really addicting, and I'm definitely going to play some more of it today. Here, Jax, you talked. I'm sorry I went on for a little bit. I'm just going to check my notes, make sure I didn't miss anything.
No, that's fine. For the record, guys, it is on... I think when they say it is on Steam Deck, it is playable on Steam Deck. You've just got to adjust the settings quite significantly, I think. So yeah, give it a try if you do have Steam Deck.
So, ladies and gentlemen, consensus... Palworld is worth it so far, in my opinion. I am really hoping that the devs follow through in regards to their promises, and from what I've seen so far, they have. And hopefully the game becomes a competitor for Pokemon, and Pokemon can suck it. So, yeah, Jax, I recommend you get it.
Shots fired.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with Pokemon. People know this, so...
I think a lot of people,
as we all do.
Yeah, I was going to say, feel the way you feel.
Us millennials definitely have a love-hate. Yeah, at this point, yeah, how could you not?
I think it's a fair argument, considering Pokemon is like the most, like, they make the most money from Pokemon out of all of their IPs, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even close.
But anyway, that was Palmon. Palworld, sorry. We have other topics to talk about, Jax. Why don't you kick us off with what the next thing we're talking about?
And that was, douchey game developer people, corporate people in the gaming world, telling gamers what they should think and how they should feel about the games that they own. So, in case you missed it, the head of subscription services at Ubisoft, you know, the guys that make Assassin's Creed and very little else,
yep, that's
said
it.
that we should...
Far Cry.
Yeah,
Far Cry does,
I
think.
To be fair, they just dropped that Prince of Persia game that is meant to be great. It's kind of like a Metroidvania.
I heard some criticism.
I heard good stuff, so we will park that for another time.
Okay.
But they basically say we should get more comfortable not owning our games.
Boo.
So, yeah, essentially it goes into the whole digital ownership narrative that, you know, we no longer really own, like, not many people buy DVDs anymore. We watch all our film and TV on subscription services that we don't own. So things disappear off Netflix that we would like to watch. We don't own it. We just pay for Netflix. So obviously he's saying, why isn't that like the same with games? And I guess from that perspective, I mean, I guess you can make that connection. But frankly, he can go F himself. Because when you buy something and that something is yours and you've paid outright for it, you should not have to give it back. Tell me, because this sort of line of thinking means that I should now buy everything, like everything physical version, like all the games. And I quite like buying digital games, but now I'm worried all the digital games I've bought, I don't know, we're at the mercy of these corporations that might just decide, hey, we're removing this from our store for XYZ reason. Sony, with, I think it was their digital, it was some digital Play Store for TV shows, and they removed that, which people had previously bought shows and films and stuff that they watched on it, could no longer access it. You know, so
I have a question.
This is a real concern for people moving forward, I think.
Yeah.
And this type of opinion telling gamers how to act as well, it's no, I do not agree with it. But it's going to make me start to rebuy physical stuff.
I don't want anymore. I don't want all the empty boxes and stuff. I don't need it. Not.
I hate swapping out game cartridges in my Switch, don't get me wrong, but
I can't go back to consoles physically. I just can't do it.
I know, but like it might get to that point. Like this is where it's going.
I'm not agreeing with this person at all. I just want.
It's like gaming as a streaming model.
I have a question. Maybe a stupid question. You know, Xbox Game Pass or PS Plus or whatever, the PS subscription, Xbox Game Pass. When the free game that you get from the Game Pass, do they keep it forever? Correct. It's not like a hey, okay.
So I had PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what game it was. There was at least one or two, because I didn't do it that much. But at the time, this was when I was playing on PS4, and it was an offline game. For the record, like I didn't play it online, so I shouldn't have needed to. But I got it free with PlayStation Plus. As soon as I ended my PlayStation Plus subscription, I could no longer play that game. That's what they want.
Oh,
but think about it for all games.
Is that the same?
Think about it like that for all games.
No, that's fool. That's ridiculous.
But we should get comfortable with that, guys.
I hate that. I think the only game that that is fair to say you don't own after paying for it is like MMO subscriptions. That's the only way to do it. Because it's massive online. That I can get behind. That's a subscription
anyway, so that again that doesn't count. One, it's not like it would be like this, right? You buy God of War on the PS5. You buy that. You've bought that game outright. You paid like £70 or something like that, digitally or whatever. 20 years from now, and for whatever reason, Sony are purging a bunch of games off of their systems, including God of War. And despite the fact that you paid for that game, you owned it, as far as what ownership means, you own that game. You can no longer play it anymore because they've taken it off of their system. And despite the fact that you had it on your PS5, you can't play it because they've removed it.
Yeah, it's a very scary thought, and it's especially scary because I don't know what we can do about it. I think Steam as a corporation is moderately solid in regards to being ethical to a point. I mean, I guess at least from the standpoint for gamers, right, Jax? As for a platform, Steam itself hasn't done anything too terrible to us, right? They wouldn't do this, is what I'm trying to say. At least from what I can see right now.
But see, you're relying on
who's in charge,
on history,
on history.
Historical goodwill of a company. When we know that regardless of how we think about the people that run these companies, money talks above everything else.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But we've already paid for the game. We've already given you the money.
And that's the worst part is if if they implemented tomorrow and said, hey, you have to give us $10 a month to play all your games, I think the majority of us probably just would, frankly.
That's exactly the point. Whenever it comes to any affirmative action about changing things, and the first thing everyone says is like, oh, you I forget what the phrase is now. It's like you do something with your wallet. You know, your action is
transaction.
Come on, you know. I think I said it in a previous podcast. You talk with your wallet. That's it. To the point. So, you know, if everyone's not paying for XYZ subscription or whatever, then their share prices take a hit. Then they realise, okay, this didn't work. We'll try something else, or we'll go back to what we were doing. But this is the problem. Every gamer does it anyway. They'll do it. They'll pay, like you just said. If it was 10 a month or whatever, they'll just pay it. Yeah, they will. And then they'll go on Twitter and then moan that they have to pay this £10 or $10.
I mean, like, everyone would be upset about it, but it's like, at this point, there's nothing I can do. I have like 600 games in my Steam library. There's no way I'm not going to pay $10 a month for that. I would probably just cancel my Nintendo Online $20 a year subscription and use that money for Steam. Like, I mean,
at least it's cheaper. Nintendo's Online.
That's true. It's $20 for a year. I hope I could get behind them being like, "Hey, we need $50 annually from you guys to make sure you have your games to run
to
Steam
store
as a
all the games that you buy from us.
If they
in our library, in your system,
in a way, if they told me, "Hey, this is what we're going to be using that money for. This is why we need it," and they had good reasoning behind it, I would say, "Steam, here's my $50. I don't care." Because, like, if it was for the good of the platform, I would do it. I think that would suck. But if it was an annual fee once over subscription every month, yeah, I don't know. I'm a simpleton. I'm not a smart man, Jax. I don't know. I would be upset too, but I don't know what we can do. I'm just trying to think what the best case scenario is.
Here's a tweet from one of the devs of Larian.
Okay.
3.
Yeah.
He says, "Whatever the future of games look like, content will always be king."
Yes.
So it's going to be a lot harder to get good content if subscription becomes the dominant model, and a select group of people gets to decide what goes to market and what doesn't, meaning that it's the publishers, right? And so they would essentially have all the control. It says, and then he says, direct from developer to players is the way. So what he's basically saying is that because it's so hard to market games, if you're smaller developers, you have to go to a big publisher. Going direct from developers to players is the way. That's only done in the indie market, and it doesn't reach the wider audience, does it? Unless those people are looking for indie games, there has to be another way that developers can get mass market marketing and appeal.
Yeah, well, now you just scared me for another reason, is because I just thought, like, what if they go to a subscription model? You know what the next step is going to be? They're going to have 3 tiers of subscription models in regards to what game. So, like, the indie game would come in.
Tier 1, all demos. Just demos, you know, early access games. Try that. And you got the middle tier, which is demos. You get full games, but no DLCs. And then the top tier is, you know, everything. Like, could you imagine? Could you imagine it being like that? How bizarre.
You want Baldur's Gate? That's tier 3 only. You can't have that stuff at tier 2. What are you talking about?
Like,
oh my god.
Could you believe? Like, it's mind-boggling. But yeah, it's scary. Like, we give so much money for video games anyway. Like the price of them, just everything. So just to see this narrative being pushed, like more and more, it's scary and it's concerning, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if that's where it ends up going.
I agree with the Larian Studios, whoever said that. I think content's going to be king, and I think it's any money that I spend going forward. I think myself and I think y'all should also think about what's worth it in regards to either getting the most hours out of a video game, or if it's a game that has, you know, not replayability factor, how imperative is that gameplay and that gameplay experience that isn't going to be worth the price tag? I think, unfortunately, as consumers, we just have to be smarter about that as the greed of all these companies grow, which sucks. I don't like it, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Hey, Jax, let's talk about something else. You want to hear a fun game?
Talk about something?
Yeah.
You want to talk about something equally as sad?
Oh, okay. We're talking about that first. Yeah, sure. Let's talk about that for 5 minutes, because then I can go cry. Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
So you'll know by now, Matt Pat from the Game Theorist has been talked about at the start of the year, has chosen to step down and retire. And first off, good for him. So he's passing all his channels on to people who have already been working under him. The Game Theorists, they have loads of people working under them. And the ones that he's sort of given those channels to, they've been there a while. So I think they're all in good hands and stuff. Yeah. But I think good for him. I didn't realise he'd been on YouTube for like 13 years. Like, that's nuts.
I didn't know he was 38. I didn't know that. He was younger. I thought he was closer to our age, but I guess not. I mean, we're almost there too, Jax. You gonna retire in a couple of years?
I'm so jealous. Like, I'd love to be in a position where I could retire and give my channel over to some trustworthy people to carry on the legacy. But,
maybe that's what I'm gonna do. What if I just have auditions for taking over the channel in 5 years when I get too old? I'm just gonna give it to someone, and I'm gonna say, "Hey, I will take a cut of the merch, and then you can take you can take the channel. You can have the money you get from ads and whatever, and any membership stuff. It's all yours. Just give me a cut of the merch, and that's fine."
One day, mate?
Yeah.
You got any thoughts? Because he was a bit of an inspiration for my my channel. Obviously, I do.
That's true. Yeah.
Lore and theory stuff like that. Between him and my favourite Let's Player, Yub, they were sort of the two main inspirations I had for sort of starting YouTube in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And in particular, obviously, his stuff for... Yeah, I think the reason I even done a theory video in the first place was because he hadn't done a theory on this particular topic. So in that way, he'd influenced me by not doing this particular game.
Yeah.
So there we are.
I don't know. I understand why he did it. I think it came out of left field, which, crippled my happiness for the beginning of the year a little bit. But I get it. I don't know. I think he's really smart, and I know he's going to go ahead and go on to bigger, better things. And also, he's still going to be involved on the back end. He's just not going to be in the filming process. So he's still part of the company. He's just going to have, hopefully, less hours in regards to the manual labor of putting all the stuff together, doing the edit. Well, I don't think he does the editing. Doing the filming itself, because he was the face for the whole game theory. So he's just going to be on the back end doing stuff. I think he's still going to show up every once in a while. But I don't know. I think for him... I hope that he has peace, because he seems like the kind of person that it would be hard to step away, and I know from his video that for sure he feels that way. But yeah, I don't know. I hope he's okay. I don't even know how to think about that, because for us, we as YouTubers, we've been dealing with that for a while now. Sorry, Jax, how old's your channel again? When did it start? What year? Do you know your birthday of your channel off the top of your head?
No, I want to say it's 5 to 6 years.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. We're similar then. Mine is April 1st, 2018. So I'm coming up on 6. Yeah. But I don't know. It's sort of like a way of life at this point, and I would feel weird to drop it, but I'm not going to lie if I told you. I would be lying if I said that I hadn't thought about it. Be honest.
Oh really? Okay.
I don't know, but then my mind retracts, and I'm like, you would have too much free time. You wouldn't know what to do with yourself, man. What are you talking about? Playing video games for fun? You don't want that.
Baldur's Gate. That's what you'd be doing.
Hey, I got RuneScape goals this year. That's true.
I think what resonated with me about it is because obviously he's much further ahead, as we said, than we are in our YouTube lives, and obviously he blew up, and we are both yet to properly blow up on our channels just yet. Hopefully one day. But his decision, I think, for a large part, was born out of the fact that he wanted to spend more time with his family.
Right.
I totally get that. Because I did so much more, like, hours into YouTube before I had my son. And so now my YouTube time has resulted to just the evening/nights when he is asleep. But I would totally get because for him and Steph, they were pretty much working all the time, because they were always talking about it at dinner time, stuff like that, like he was saying. So to have that level of like work constantly in your life must be such a burden at times, and obviously you don't want to disappoint all the fans and stuff like that. So I think for him it's great, because they both get to spend much more time with their son, which is the most important thing. So good for him. And yeah, I'm probably going to watch the same amount of Game Theorists that I usually watch, which is just if I'm interested, I'll take a look. But he's like you. I would say in terms of gaming, like some others, he's definitely YouTube royalty. He's really tried to sort of crowbar gaming into the mainstream and stuff like that. Like, yeah, he's just a good guy, I think, overall.
Yeah, it was interesting. They had a video like this last week about him. He reacted to a Watch Mojo list. Watch Mojo made a list of YouTubers that retired, and he was on it, like, because they wanted to hop on the trend of him retiring, so they made a top 20 list. And I think he was like number 3 or something. But it was just, I don't know, it was interesting to see his reaction and like other people that retired and why. And most of them, like, it was hilarious. Most of them like went to a singing career. And he's like, I promise I won't pull out a new like album. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry about it. But yeah. I don't know what to think. I hope that he's happy, and that's all I got to say about that.
No, good for him, and we wish you luck. And moving on.
Jax, you want to hear about one more thing before we end the pod, about this new game that I played with a video coming out next week?
Ooh, hit me.
It's an indie game that I think I'm a couple weeks behind on the trend, because I saw some other people playing it a few weeks back, but it is called The Exit 8. It is a horror walking simulator indie game. And you haven't heard of this at all yet? Not ring any bells? Okay.
I must admit, I have not.
Okay, let me describe it for you.
It's got very positive Steam reviews, though.
Yeah, it's gotten good reviews. So it's made by Kotaku Create, is the name of the developer and publisher. They did both. It's a psychological horror walking simulator where you are trapped in an endless underground hallway that's sort of like it sort of looks like a subway hallway in Japan. You know how like cool and like white and clean it looks in those Japanese like underground subway tunnels, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it looks sort of like that. The point of the game is simple.
The guy at the start of the teaser trailer looks like Dr. Phil. Tell me I'm wrong. He walks past a guy.
He does look like Dr. Phil. He looks like a young Dr. Phil.
He walks past a guy, literally looks like a slim Dr. Phil. I'm just saying. Sorry, carry on.
No.
I have to throw that in.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. So you start at level 0, and you start at exit 0, and you're supposed to be getting to exit 8 is the point of the game, to finish the game. And it's very simple, because what you do is you turn around a corner, and you're in a hallway, and it's the same hallway every single time. And what you're supposed to do is it's what? It's PT, what?
Is it like PT?
I've never played PT. Is PT?
Oh yeah, but is it like you end up repeating the same?
Sort of, yes. So
yeah,
what happens is you walk down this hallway, and if it's normal, which is what they showed you in level 0, then you walk forward and go to the next hallway. and then there's a sign in between hallways saying what level you're going to next. So if you did it correctly, it'll say going to level 1. If you're in the hallway and there is something that is an abnormal or an anomaly, anomaly. Oh my god!
Abnormally.
I did this in my playthrough too. I can't say anomaly. I can't say it. What is it?
Oh yeah, I was about to say abnormal, but yeah,
anomaly. Anyway,
Do you want me to say it?
if it's abnormal, if
Oh
there's
my God, you've
something
made me do
amiss,
it.
if there's something amiss in the hallway,
Anonymous. Oh my God, what have you done? Anomaly.
Anomaly. Okay.
Yes.
Sick. Amazing.
Good Lord.
I'm keeping that all in. If there's if there is something wrong, you, instead of going forward, you turn backwards and go back. And if you go back, it does this looping thing where it'll go to the next sign too. So if you do it correctly, it'll still say going to the next level. It won't say that you're at the previous one. If you do it wrong, you go back to level 0. But everything looks the same. So it puts you in the state of mind where you're starting to freak out, because like you're like, what do you mean something was right? That was normal. There wasn't any abnormal things there. I should be going to the next level. No, and it's like it just repeats continually. But it's pretty fun. But the other thing about it is, like, essentially every time you turn a corner, I'm not saying there's a jump scare, but there's a potential jump scare or a potential for some kind of scary interaction to happen every single time you turn a corner, because you don't know if it's going to be... so I don't know how many anomalies there are, but there's... Some of them are simple and some of them are scary. So, like, for example... A simple one was like, there's like posters on the wall. One of the posters changed, and that would be an anomaly. That'd be something different. You turn back, go around.
It's like observation duty.
Yes, it's sort of like observation duty, but active, and you're not via the cameras. So like another one was like, there's a doorknob in the middle of the door instead of on, where a doorknob should normally be. But then there's also scary ones. Like one time I turned around a corner, and there was 2 men just standing and staring directly at me, and it's freaky for that reason alone, but also for the fact that when you turn around that corner, you're expecting normal. You're expecting like exactly what you've seen recently, or like before, something that if it's abnormal, it's something that's subtle, right? You're expecting like, oh, this poster changed, like, or whatever. It's like, no, there's these 2 men there, and you're like, nope, and then you immediately go back around. But I think it's fun. It was a little more scary than I thought it would be, to be completely honest. But it was a good experience.
So basically, what you're saying is that for the majority, it'll be fine, not scary at all.
I was freaking out a minute into it. You might do better than me, but I'm gonna say I don't think there's like FNAF level jump scares. I will say that.
It gave me backroom vibes just by looking at it.
Yes.
It's not really like that.
And that's another reason why I was interested in it.
I was going to say, yeah.
It is a little
definitely.
backroomsy-esque because it's repeating a lot. But yeah, it's a little bit different in regards to gameplay. It is more like observation duty, like you said.
Are we allowed to finish a podcast by talking about anime?
I suppose we are, Jax. I suppose we are. Before you talk about your anime, did you know? Freaking crazy. So the latest arc of One Piece, they put it on Netflix.
The latest one?
Yeah. So normally they had One Piece on Netflix beforehand, but it was like only at a certain place.
Surely it's season 1 or something.
Yeah, it was like season... they're a little bit further than that now, but they've been slowly stacking the seasons up, so like they were at like episode 200 or something. They just dropped the latest arc on there. That is wild. I don't know why they did that, but if you're caught up on One Piece, you can go to Netflix right now and watch the newest arc.
That's weird.
It is weird, but it's also... I think one of the reasons why they did it is because Oda himself, the creator of One Piece, said that you can start from this arc.
Okay.
Which I don't necessarily agree with, but who am I to argue with Oda? But anyway, Jax, what were you going to talk about for your anime?
Before I talk about what I was going to talk about, I just want to say, you remember a while ago when I talked about I was watching Bleach on some random website, and it had like 2 or 3 seasons, and then it had nothing until the 1,000-Year Blood War arc.
Yeah.
And I was really disappointed because I wanted to know what happened with Aizen and all that stuff, and I was really interested. And so now I didn't realise Bleach was on Disney Plus, so now I've been watching all of Bleach, and I finally caught up to what I wanted to see, which I'm very happy about. Bleach is good. I could see why, if you grew up watching that, it would be like your favourite anime. I could see that. Like with Dragon Ball Z, I grew up with Dragon Ball Z, so I love Dragon Ball Z. I could see that with Bleach as well, for sure.
I rewatched Bleach last year. It's still good. It's still one of my favorites, but I don't think it holds against some of...
I was going to say, it's not top tier. It's like
It used to be. It used to be. It used to be the big three
I
for a
keep
reason,
saying this. I know it's a video game podcast. We need to do an anime tier list, like 100%. Like just, I just think it'd be so much fun.
You know, if people want us to, I will consider. But
that means no.
Let us know in the comments down below.
Because, well, do you want to see some of the IGN's tier list? And by tier list, I meant they reviewed Jujutsu Kaisen season 2, and they gave it a 6 out of 10.
Why?
Now, don't get me wrong.
Why?
I'm not a JJK diehard fan. I don't see Gojo in everywhere I go. I'm not a Go Jehovah Witness. You know.
You should
came
be.
up with that one myself. But like, I thought that season was amazing personally. To give it a 6, it basically is saying that the story itself wasn't, like, it didn't really scratch up too much, and that the end wasn't great.
Are they stupid? Yeah. What are you talking about? We literally had backstory. Oh my god. Are you on? No. I'm sorry. Incorrect.
Yeah.
I'm not. No, I won't. I'm trying not to yell anymore. I won't. I won't. No. Okay. I refuse.
It almost feels like they've done it as like clickbait. It almost feels like that. It's like, oh my god, this is like the most hyped show this year. Let's give the second season a 6 out of 10. Like, I would say, okay, if you've got those gripes, okay, that deserves at least a 7. Like, at least a 7. It's not a perfect 10, but the animation,
Shibuya
the
arc,
action scenes, yeah.
Shibuya arc had the best
I'd give
animation.
it an 8 or a 9 personally out of 10.
I would give it 8 or a 9. At least a 9.5, 9.2.
But like, okay. I'm saying like too much. That's when I'm speechless. I would expect better from the International Gaming Network.
I would.
You know?
I mean, they don't know anime apparently. What did they rate the highest? Was it like a list of 10 to 1 or whatever?
No, it wasn't. That was just them reviewing JJK.
Oh.
There were people that were comparing what they'd. Okay. Do you want to see more? Oh, more reviews by the guy who reviewed it. Okay. He rated Attack on Titan a 10. Makes sense, I guess. Although I have not seen the final part.
You haven't still?
Because the dub isn't out, and I've watched.
Oh my god, you're killing me!
I know. I shouldn't care, but then I feel like I need to wait, and I've been kept spoiler free until this far.
No, I'm sorry.
It should be coming.
I'm sorry, I'm being too harsh. You're right,
It should be coming soon.
The English dub is one of the more decent dubs for Attack on Titan compared to, anything else.
I really I need to hear Eren's voice. Like, I know his voice. The guy that does his voice is amazing.
Okay,
oh my god.
Okay.
And this guy gave Solo Leveling, which I have not watched yet, an 8. There you go.
There's 2 episodes. What are you talking? Okay. I have high hopes for Solo Leveling, but okay, IGN, stick to gaming, dog. What are you talking about?
Oh, Yeah. I can understand some of the points, but it still deserves better than a 6. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's absolutely absurd. Well, that's upsetting, and also the end of our podcast.
What a great way to end, guys.
What a crazy way. Hey, if you're still listening and you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, you have not rated this podcast 5 stars or
what
widgets
are you doing with your life?
or whatever the heck is the whatever units of measurement on the platform you're listening to, we would greatly appreciate it. We honestly really would. It helps us grow, and we love you for it. Jax, any last words for the podcast, and any last beautiful words?
I hope your 2024 is going well so far. It could only go up from here, guys. And I rate a JJK. Am I going to put it in S tier or A tier? I don't know. Save it for our anime tier list that we're definitely going to do an episode on sometime. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Go buy Palworld.